Welcome, my brothers and sisters, to another session of the PM Hour. You know what we talk about here. We talk about what you want to talk about. Us, our people, the diaspora. I'm Patrick.
I'm Tasha.
I'm Terry.
Peace and blessings. It's your boy Garrett.
Yes, so we're going to start off with another topic about Daniel Prude today, you guys. And it's just another senseless death about how the police is just shutting our lives off, you guys. So let's get it started today. And I would like to discuss how Daniel Prude just lost his life. And we already know how it got started, even though how his brother called and distinctly stated that how his brother was suffering from mental illness. And while his brother was suffering from mental illness and while he was running off into the streets, yes, the police did come. And while they came and his brother was out there shouting out, yes, he had the corona and this and that or whatever. Okay, I understand that. They went and put a bag over his head and all this type of sort. But what I still can't come to grasp is that why are they holding him down and try to restrain him even though he's not kicking, he's not hitting, he's not doing none of that, and they're cutting off his air circulation. And in the midst of that, they put handcuffs on this man. And while they put handcuffs on him, they couldn't even find a key. Now, what the fuck is up with that? You can't find a key after this man can't even breathe no more?
Yeah.
And then, on top of why he can't breathe, wow, now this man on life support.
More than the same. So he's
that?
not dead?
Put the
He's
bag
not
over
dead?
Oh, no, he's dead now.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay.
After
Bag over
7
his
days
head,
worth
right.
of fucking life support that the police done put his ass on. I just can't still come to grasp of why these police is still taking the lives of the black man. Matter of fact, not even the black man, just the black people in general. Why are they still able to do this when you already know this is a mental person in distress? What is the proper procedure, what they supposed to do, instead of they putting these people in handcuffs?
When did you say this happened? What did you say this was?
This happened back in March, around March 23rd or so of this year, 2020. So what is your take of this situation?
Okay. Well, one thing I do want to say, sis, is sort of like what you started to say before, more of the same,
Yes.
right? A lot of this is more of the same. And I don't want to trivialize Daniel Prude's death, but I think a lot of this goes back to the same movement that's still going on, you know, Black Lives Matter, and when it comes to defund the police. Now, this is definitely, you know, there needs to be training on how police need to interact with African Americans. But I think just on the surface level, I don't think they had some. In the beginning, they said this brother had mental health, right? He had mental health issues. That's why the call was initially made, right? So my thing is just on the surface level, not even going into racial and anything like that. Why don't we have somebody from like mental services or mental health services or social services or something like that on scene? That should be, when you call 911 and you explain what's going on, the first thing shouldn't be call the police, right? With guns and all of this, with the aggression, with they're undertrained. That's not the first person that need to show up, right? I would say, okay, maybe somebody from mental health services, they don't have a gun. It could get violent. You can have the police come and assist, but you dress back and have the person that can actually, that's more
that deals with
accredited.
issues.
Thank you. The person that's more qualified deal with the situation. And that's what we're talking about. A lot of it is systematic. Don't nobody care about the black person to go, oh, okay. And on top of that, they don't care about blacks, but they also don't care about people with mental health. Because they'll easily do it to a white person that have mental health.
Yes.
But I know right now we're focused on our own. So the point I'm making is the police, this is a part of the movement to defund the police. Because a lot of stuff like this, the majority of it affect our community, right?
Okay.
It affects our community.
Yeah.
So that's why this type of movement, we need something like this.
Yeah.
And people are thinking one thing when you say defund. Why can't you say reform the police? You're already saying prison reform, right? Prison reform. Prison reform is a subset of reform the police. So that's what we need to be preaching, reform the police. And we all know what that means.
Yeah, and yeah, what you brought up is definitely relevant. Because we can get into these nuances about it. You know what I'm saying? Because even defunding police is loaded. It's loaded in a way where we see that, okay, well, what does it mean to defund the police? Do we mean totally take their funds away? Do we totally mean don't give them any sort of, anything finance to do what they do? No. Or take police off the streets? It doesn't mean that, But then also, then when we talk about with the cases with this guy, Daniel Prude.
Yes.
Daniel Prude. Okay, well, here's another issue that we always say that, okay, again, we have another black life taken. Here's another black life that does not matter, And so what do we do about it? It's case after case after case after case, And so we search our heads trying to find a solution exactly what to do about this one, And we just feel some type of way, even after all that has happened. How are we supposed to feel about this, And look, for me, myself, it's just like a long time ago, I feel like I threw my hands up. When these cases come up, I'm also numb. I think a lot of people out here get numb to it. Like, we're numb, like, okay, I hear another one, and nothing happens. Then it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to keep on getting riled up. I'm not going to keep on getting sad or cry tears, by these other ones. Because what are we going to do if we're in a situation that we, some level, emotionally, we accept it. We accept it. Not to take it away from what happened. This is definitely tragic. This situation is extremely tragic, and it's something we should highlight because this is why we're talking about it even on the show right now, But what's the dividing line? What do we do? What do we do? Here's another one. This is another case. What do we do? It's out of our hands. It's out of our hands, And I'm just saddened because it puts me, and I don't know if a lot of people feel like it puts me in a certain place where I feel like I'm helpless. Good brothers, and I feel deeply, my brothers and sisters in a situation, and as black people, we can't do nothing. What is it? The solution is to vote, to solve it. What is it? To march? More of the same. More of the same. When we saw more of the same, we're not talking about just more of the same. These deaths happen. More of the same are the same solution that don't work. That do not work. What do I do? How do we feel? This is how I feel. What do we do?
Well, this is how I feel about the whole situation. You could sit back and say, what do we do, and not do anything, but at some point you have to do something.
I agree.
A lot of times, it could be more of the same, but you'll find that like more of the same is different in different times. For whatever reason, we've had different protests. Actually, Black Lives Matter has been around before George Floyd. We were protesting. Black Lives Matter started protesting with Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so there have been protests, but you didn't have the level that you had with George Floyd.
Yeah.
Right? Some could say it's because with George Floyd, we actually saw that tape. With Trayvon Martin, we just are imagining what happened because we're taking...
Trayvon might have been a precursor to this, to
what
George
I'm
Floyd.
What I'm saying is you could say we didn't have a tape for Trayvon Martin, right?
Yeah.
We had, where they said when the lion
Yes.
tells the tale,
Yeah.
right? So we going off of George Zimmerman.
Mm-hmm.
With George Floyd, we saw a tape. So George Floyd didn't have to say anything, right? We witnessed what happened. So some could say like that had to do with the rise of it. The point is there is a shift and there is a rise. So you say, what do? You go out and protest. What I'm saying, what we cannot do and what always happen is we sit back and we go, oh, yes, this protest that we're doing, oh, we made some segue because they took down a few statues. They put Black Lives Matter on like a basketball game, or they put Black Lives Matter on a football game. They stopped a basketball game for like 2 nights or something like that.
Basically.
You could say, oh, and they wore kente cloth.
Yeah.
They wore kente cloth
Yeah.
at like a Congress hearing. So we have arrived. Like they see what we're doing now, right? The protests have worked. What I'm saying is that's how they get you. You don't stop at that. You don't stop at that. That's what you do. The protests can work if we don't settle for
less.
Yes. And we don't settle for superficial gestures.
So you're talking about a different type of protest because, what you're talking about, not just marching up in the streets, because many conversations we had before where is that, okay, the bigger protests would be showing how we spend our money. Just like you
Exactly.
brought up
Yeah,
eloquently brought up the
exactly.
NBA thing. I
Exactly.
think this is one of the first time where you saw they didn't ask for them. They basically said we're not playing, and the game was supposed to happen that day. And we said we're not playing, and you saw swift, immediate action to
Of
resolve
course.
this. Calling Barack Obama,
Yes.
they swift, immediate action. So they extended their power in a certain way that
Yes.
NBA player athletes have
And
never
I
extended it
wanna,
before.
Can I say one thing about that? The thing about that is that protest people were saying, oh, whatever, the NBA players are being selfish because they're not actually going to lose any money. All the money that's being lost is on the owners and all this. But no, they signed deals. They were also going to lose money.
Yes.
So
Of
that's
course.
another
Of course.
way that we
Yes.
need to step up. We need to step up in that way. We have to be willing to make sacrifices.
Oh,
You don't get
absolutely.
anywhere without
They
sacrifices.
get paid per game. So if you think about it for like that, all of them lost a paycheck that
Exactly.
game. And
That's my
it was
point.
it went universal. All sports, they all lost a paycheck that game because sports that have multiple. It's different when you talk about the major ones, like you said, not major ones, but you talk about teams like the NFL that only has that one game like a week. But those teams,
Yeah, but
which
I'm
are
talking
in
about
season,
what just happened with
no.
the NBA, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying a lot of the teams that's playing right now, they usually have 2 games during the week. So a sense of, you would think about like when it comes like when they were protesters or whatever, that's like, a viable paycheck that they all kind of lost, which kind of made more of a push for them to get back to start playing because there was another game during that same week. Imagine had the practice go long. They might have would have had, if not had that intervene, they probably could have had maybe 2 games lost. That's still paychecks for these players.
Of course.
That they're losing out on. You say they might be rich or not, but
you're
still going
talking
forward.
more of like the intervention and why people were like, okay, let's get them back to playing and all that. What I'm saying is,
If they not had done that.
yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is, they were also losing money on the deal.
That's
So
my
it
point.
goes to show you that what they were fighting for was
Yeah,
more.
it's bigger than in the sport.
It was more important to them than money.
Yeah,
Because
and I
they were
see-
also losing
was-
money.
Hold on, let me say, and I see. I think
So that's
also,
my point.
I think
We just
also,
need more of that. That's
I
my
think
point.
so.
We need
Also,
more
what
of
you're
that.
hinting at is not just leaving up to the athletes and when they make this movement, because you saw an athlete, but then the people ourselves watching this whole thing now to go down. Like we also have a voice. We also are spending money too. You have this whole block of black people falling in line with actually something tangible that will help us out in our voice, in our need, in our protest.
That's
You
why I
know,
give it
that's
up
not
to
just
LeBron
getting them straight.
James. Yes,
You
and I
know,
would give it up to LeBron
and
James.
LeBron James become
Who-
such a leader, hasn't he? Not just in basketball,
And he
but
started
such for the
that,
black
yes,
community. Yeah.
Yes, and I give it up to him. And if we could have more people like him who did start that, yes, LeBron James, and more people like,
Chris
other
Paul,
names,
Chris
yes,
Paul.
Chris
Yeah,
Paul,
Chris Paul
Ice
was good.
Cube, just to throw out some names, like them who are letting us know that our lives do matter. They're showing us more and more every day that our lives do matter just out here into our small community and our population into the world.
Another brother.
Yes. So you guys, you need to just show and just to let you guys know that to do not give up. Let these people know that we are still here in our communities. Do not let them take your lives, your daddy, your uncle, your brother, even if it's your sister. Let them know that you're still here inside of your community. They're just coming here for a second in a day and just taking your lives away.
And, again, this is the reason why we're here, folks. This is the reason why we built this podcast, to get people to talk, because this is what we're trying to get the awareness to. I'm speaking to my brothers and my sisters out there. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're a celebrity, or it doesn't even matter if you're in middle class, lower middle class. I mean, you can see that white supremacy, or the powers that be, whatever you choose to call it, it's just the fact that they just do not care, especially when it comes to black lives. And this is what we need to bring awareness to. We have to get you guys to understand that Black Lives Matter. That's what this is really about. We talk about change, we talk about reform, but we're really talking about getting our communities to understand that this is what it's about. We have to understand that Black Lives Matter start in the house. And we need to come here and make
Right.
sure that we build upon that.
Right.
Because the change comes when we all do come together. No,
Yes.
we might not be the biggest population here. No, but that's not the point in saying that we can't make it all work, right? That number, what they say it might equate it to, might be just a little bit close to 400,000 nationally wide, but that could still be strong. That could still be a strong, even if we could still just get the idea of bringing that amount around together.
No, it's
No.
It's more like
yeah.
our population is more like 42,000. right? That's what you're saying. 42,000.
What, black people?
Black people in the United States?
No, we're in a couple of millions, 14%,
I mean,
13,
yeah,
14.
42 million. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
42 million.
okay.
You said
Want to get it right? Yeah.
44,000.
Don't cut us down now.
Yeah,
We
I'm
out
gonna get-
there. We out there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure
It'd
we
be
out
much
here
worse.
still booming,
And we getting
making
killed
these
like that?
Girl,
Okay.
okay.
But
either
okay.
way, like, it's-
But you know, we got millions. Hold on, you know, we got millions. But yes, but you said it right, brother. You know what I'm saying? Say my brother, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it starts at home. And what's that start at home is black people concerned about black people and what we know. Outside of everything that's happening, we can't do nothing about system. The system has to start with our own system. We have to do what we do. So that's it. You know, we could go on and on about this subject. You know, Daniel Prude, rest in peace, brother. We're here with you. This is another case of another sisters, and you're in heaven with all the other ones that we have lost in these years past, and we're gonna fight. The ones that's left here, we're dealing with it, and we're gonna keep on fighting, brother. You know, Sandra Bland, you know, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of you know, we could go on and on the list, and the laundry list is gonna keep on continuing. Sad to say, but okay, you know, join us. Subscribe to our podcast on Anchor. You know, we're here, and follow us in all of the social media, your favorite social media. Just type in the PM Hour and email us at ThePMHour1 at gmail.com. You know what it is. All right, we'll talk. The diaspora.